Welcome to Bryson. My name's Conrad. I'm going to share multiple ways on how to become an accredited investor, which is a lot more simplistic than you might think. So let's get right into it. I don't care if you filed bankruptcy, if you're an individual who filed a Chapter 7, if you're a corporation who filed a Chapter 11. I don't care if you have an exorbitant amount of wealth and you're so wealthy where you don't even need my help. Doesn't matter. A little piece of information gives you a little more information to be able to navigate, or if you have no money at all. I don't care if you're educated formally or not. I don't care if you have experience in business or not. Doesn't matter. This is free information that I'm going to share with you. You do all your research yourself as well. I'm going to leave links in the description below as well on how to become an accredited investor. But I'm going to share it. You heard it here from Bryson. Let's get right into it. The first way to become an accredited investor, for those, doesn't again, if you have a lot of money or if you don't have any money, I'm going to share ways that you can become an accredited investor, so you can invest in private companies, which will give you a more probability of succeeding and be able to earn a lot more income than just being able to only invest in public companies. When it's a public company, it's on the stock exchange. They file something called an initial public offering, which is an IPO, is the acronym for that. And essentially, by the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States, they actually allow the public to invest into these companies. But if you want to get higher gains and you want to actually have the probability of earning more money, you need to become an accredited investor, so you can actually invest in private companies. And you can invest in art, you can invest in companies coming up, companies that have been around for hundreds of years or 20 years or 30 years. Doesn't matter if they're private, you can invest in them. If you want to invest in oil, like here at Bryson, etc., the world is your oyster. Essentially, I chose this location because it's absolutely phenomenal. You'll see right behind me the corporate office for Mattel. They're publicly traded for the stock ticker, can't speak, MAT. They're publicly traded, but if you want to invest in, for example, let's zoom in. You can actually invest in airlines. A lot of airlines actually are not public, but there are quite a bit of public airlines. See one of the airplanes over there? You see the fin? That's actually an airport. That's United over there. So some of these companies are already public, so you can actually just invest through your stock brokerage. But if you want to invest, I like this location because sometimes I come up here and I look at different companies that are private, that are public, and my mind just starts trying to calculate numbers. But the point of this is to become an accredited investor. First and foremost, number one, the traditional way is if you earn $200,000 annually and you're expected to earn $200,000 the next year and so forth, or collectively with your spouse, $300,000 per year, and you're expected to earn an additional $300,000 every year after that such. That's the first way. The second way is you can also have a net worth of $1 million, cannot include your primary home. But if you have a primary home or you live somewhere primarily and you have real estate, it can count as your net worth as long as it's not your primary home, essentially. That's the second way. So you have to be worth $1 million. Your home can be included as long as it's not primary. Keyword: cannot be your primary residence, but can definitely be real estate you own, commercial or residential real estate, if it's 1 through 4 units or 5 units and above. If it's a commercial property, if it's land, etc., as long as it counts as real estate, it actually counts towards your net worth. That's the second way. The third way, for those that might not have a lot of money or a lot of assets, you can actually earn your Series 7 license, Series 65 license, or Series 82 license. Now, just want to give you a bit of caution. These are amazing licenses to have. They're security licenses through FINRA. But this is the thing though. Series 7 and Series 85, you must be sponsored by a brokerage, a bank, some type of institution that sponsors you while you have these licenses in your control. If your employment ends or you leave, your employment ends with these contracted sponsors, you can no longer invest in the private market. You lose your credit account, your credit investor status, just like that. The cool thing though, if you have the Series 65 license though, you actually do not need to be sponsored. What you have to do, you just have to keep it in good standing, make sure it's active, and complete your continuing education hours as it states. That's it. So, but you don't have to be sponsored. Pretty cool. That's the third way. And again, that's one of the ways, if you don't have a lot of income, a lot of money, that's one way you can actually do it to get into the market. Number 4, people, if you want to invest with your entity, like your company, your business. One of my clients I'm meeting with today, really great guy, family guy. He has a few companies where he actually owns, they're worth millions, but one of his companies he wants to invest with, he made sure he has 7 million. Again, you might not have 7 million laying around, who does really, right? But I'm just talking about a unique individual who has quite a bit of wealth. And the rule is this: you could be an accredited investor and invest as an entity. If your entity controls assets of over $5 million. His has 7 million, which is great. So what he wants to do is he wants to use that to invest into the private market. And that's pretty cool. That's one way. Another way is, if you have a company or entity and you want to invest into the private market and allow your business or entity to have accredited investor status. If you have an accredited investor status and your partners have an accredited investor status, and all the owners have accredited investor status, your company will inherit the accredited investor status. There's no certification. This is something that the Securities and Exchange Commission allows you to get automatically. Typically, you're verified with firms. They verify your tax documents, your banking statements. They know how to verify you, but it's not something you walk in with a certification or a license. It's simply that as long as you have one of these qualifications, you automatically get it that same second. That's pretty cool. That's how you essentially do it. And that's a few of the ways you can actually become an accredited investor. And it's fairly easy, actually. As long as you qualify for one of these, you actually can start investing in the private market. It opens up this, think of it this way: everyone can invest in the public companies. This gives you extra access. So not only you can invest in the public market, you can also invest in the companies that are going to file an IPO. And when they hit that IPO date, typically they soar, they go to the moon, as they say. You'll benefit off that. You get earlier access, which timing is everything. So I'm not telling you to do this. This is something for you to consider. I left some articles below so you can do further due diligence. But I just wanted to share before I meet my client. And this is one of my favorite parts of the city, where I get to look at companies from a pretty high elevation, looking at airports that are private, looking at airports and airlines that are public and private, looking at public companies. It just gives me such a view of buildings and businesses that are public, that are private. It just means a lot to me. This is one of my favorite places in the city because I get to see different cities, different businesses succeed. And it just gives me to want to invest. This is what I love. So maybe this is what you love, maybe it's not. Maybe you like basketball, maybe you like sports. I love this. So I can look at a business and I could be on it for hours. But the point is, that's how you become an accredited investor. That's one way you can do it. And once you do that, yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's run back through it. You could qualify with the net worth test. If you're worth $1 million, cannot include your primary home, but you can own real estate assets that actually are part of your net worth, but your primary home does not count towards that net worth test. You have to be worth $1 million. Or the income test, where you earn $200,000 per year annually and expected to earn $200,000 the next year, the following year, or $300,000 collectively with your spouse. Third, you can qualify as an entity if your entity has a valuation of, or holds or control of $5 million, over $5 million, or if all the owners are accredited investors, it will inherit the accredited investor status. Oh, and another one. If you're a key employee of a private fund, pardon me, almost forgot this one. This is an extra bonus. If you're a key employee and you work for a private fund and you're knowledgeable, you can actually invest as an accredited investor. Another cool hack. There's so many different ways you can succeed in this game. You just have to, education's everything. The more you don't know, the more you get hurt. So I'm hoping this helps someone out there. I just wanted to freestyle and give you guys this video from one of my favorite places where I get to look at multiple businesses in one section of the city before I meet my client. I love this area. But anyways, like, subscribe, share. And again, I hope you become an accredited investor if that's what your heart desires. I love it, and ciao.